Hey, welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. You know, I've taught you many ways to approach used cars, whether you're at an auction or a dealership or going to a private sale. What to look for under the hood, using a code reader to see what's wrong, if there's a check engine light. Today I'm going to show you another way to approach used cars and to look at them in a way that you could find a way they could tell you a story. Had they been in a violent collision? Had they been resprayed? If you see some trauma on the body and some body work has been done, there's been times that I have walked away even when the car checked out mechanically. And I always look at that first, but after mechanically, I'll walk around the vehicle again and I'll let the body and the paint tell me a story with the help of one of these. Guys, this is a paint depth gauge, and if you're going to look at a used car in any way, any manner, I guarantee you'll benefit from taking one of these along with your code reader and jump pack and other tools that I've shown you along the way. Let's walk around the lot here and we'll try and find some vehicles that can tell us a story when it comes to paint, the thickness of the paint. I'll tell you what to look for, and I'll show you what this can tell you. Let's start with this one right here. Ford F-150 around the 2009-2010. Okay, so knowing that this should have about 5.5 mils of paint. And the paint work on modern automobiles is going to be primer coat and then base coat, a color coat on top of that, and then clear coat protecting that. All of those total are going to be about 5 to 5.5 mils on this type of vehicle and this year. Now, this paint depth gauge will show you all three layers as one. This is a cheaper gauge. You can find these on Amazon. I'll try to remember to put a link down below. The more expensive ones, sure, if you're a professional and you can swing it, they're $3-4 grand or higher. They will tell you each individual layer, and they will also give you readings on plastic bumpers and parts and fiberglass, where these cheaper ones only give you readings on metal. So let me walk around the vehicle. Let's see if we can find if a panel has been repainted or if there's Bondo. If there is, and there's inconsistencies, that'll tell you that this has been repaired and will give you a story of either a violent history when it comes to collisions, or it's been taken care of and driven safely. So there we are. We're right on average with 5.1 mils, all three layers together. Consistent there so far. Still consistent. If we're going under 5 mils, you know, it could have been paint corrected at one time. Normally up on the hood is a little thinner. We're good there. How about the fender? Normal. On a Ford, you want to take readings down below near the rocker panel and then up high. And let's go back down again for the bedside, because there are rust issues with Fords in those areas. We're normal there, so that is good so far. We've made it all the way around the vehicle with normal readings. Let's get to the tailgate. There we go. So we have a part that's been resprayed, meaning it's been sanded down for one reason or another. Here we have a dent, but my guess is going to be there was maybe some rust issues at some point, or it was hit from behind. Why is this information important? Well, it's important and it can tell a story, and it tells me to look further into it, to get underneath there and see if it's been hit from behind. If there's any structural damage with the frame, or the bed itself, or anything under there. And if I don't see anything structurally, maybe it was just some rust problems, but even so, I want to get underneath then and check the underneath of the vehicle for rust issues. So here already, just with the first vehicle, without that paint depth gauge, I just would have walked around the vehicle and moved on and put this on the list without any worries. With the paint depth gauge, it gave me some information to look further into the vehicle, and now I am armed with information when this thing comes through the auction, or if you're looking at a car privately or on a lot before you go in to see that salesperson. Let's keep moving, see what else we can find. So here we have a 2015, what is this, a Murano? Now this is Asian, and those the three layers are going to be thinner than a vehicle such as a Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, or Mercedes, or BMW. The Asian cars are just laid out thinner. So we're looking between 3.5 to 4 mils we should see consistently around the vehicle. Start back here. 4.3, that's good, that's a little higher. That's more like it, that's normal. A little bit higher. All right, so this tells me that it hasn't really been polished on, or the paint hasn't been corrected. However, with a hood, it's going to be a little bit thinner, and this is worrisome right here. So we have under 3 mils, all 3 layers. Now that tells me if I would pick this up, when I get to the hood, which does need correction, there are swirls and scratches, that I can't go far. I can't go any further than enhancement or a 1-step. So, you know, if it checks out mechanically, this would be one to put on the list. Just needs a paint correction to be shined up and enhanced. But in some areas, you can only do so much without removing too much material and burning through the clear. Here's another great example, 2010 Honda Pilot, inspected till next year. Looks like it was well taken care of. We should be looking at between 4 to 4.5 mils of thickness. There's 4, that's normal. Come back to the door. 4, almost 4.5, normal. Normal. Back quarter panel. Oh, 36 mils. Now what does this tell me? So this vehicle here tells me a different story. When there's readings this thick, that'll tell you there's Bondo or filler in there. Doesn't matter if it's tiger hair or fiberglass or metal Bondo. Whatever it is, was either to fix rust, which there aren't a whole lot of rust issues with the Honda Pilot that I am familiar with. So that's going to tell me this took a hard hit in the back corner. And that will make it urgent for me to look into it further, get underneath there, see if I can see a crumple zone, or if there's any sheet metal. This doesn't have a full frame. This vehicle has what they call a unibody, where pressed sheet metal together forms the strength of the underbody or the undercarriage. And I should look for the rear wheel is back there. I should look at the suspension, make sure the suspension parts aren't bent. We can't take these for a ride, so I can't tell if this thing wobbles or goes down the road crooked or makes noises because it's been hit. But that information right there taught me that this vehicle was in some sort of a crash where it needed 36 mils of filler. That's a lot of filler. So red flag for me, even if it checks out mechanically, which it does. I started this vehicle, it has 186,000 miles on, but it runs perfectly, and it's inspected till next year. This would have been on my list. It still might be, but I'm going to have to look into it further before I consider it. Let's move on, see what else we can find. Here's another great example on the Ford Edge here, or Escape, or whatever this is. So this year, 2010, we should be looking at about between 4 and 5 mils of clear coat and color coat and primer altogether. That stands about normal. That's normal. That's normal. All right, so that throws up a red flag to me. Let's come back a little bit further. When I see a red flag, what I'm going to do is take more readings, 3 or 4 on the perimeter and a couple in the middle. There we go. There is a indication of Bondo, and this is a great example because it's been hit again, and you can see the Bondo repair in there. It's chipping away. Nice amount of Bondo in there. 26.2, so that's a thick layer. That is a great, great example for you guys. This thing can save you a lot of headaches and can give you a ton of information. This Cadillac SRX is another great example. With this year, we should be looking between 5 and 6 mils all the way around consistently. A little low there. That's more like it. That's more like it. That's normal. Oh, all right. So there's a respray, and that makes me stop and go back. And you can indeed see the difference. Look at the texture in this door, and then look at the texture at this door. You can see the respray. Not quite quality or factory, or they painted it with a subpar gun or mixture of hardener or reducer and didn't cut and buff it. And even without measuring, I can tell that that back quarter panel was done as well. We'll probably get readings above 10. Yeah, so there's been filler and paint back here. So that tells me a story that I should look further into. Did something hit back here and take the wheel with it? I need to check the undercarriage, suspension, and sometimes there are, yeah, you could feel the overspray inside the door here. It's rough. It's rough in there. You can see where some sanding and primer is right here and in here. So there are your signs that it's been repainted. Now, that's obvious. Even the paint's a little bit of a different shade, but with this, that helps me catch areas like this and will help you as well. One more. Ford F-150, just like the first one we started with, so between 5 and 6 mils. So we're up there. 7, that's a little high, that's a little concerning. 6, kind of inconsistent. 4, 13, whoa, 13. 30. So if you do back up, you can actually see, you could see that, right? Let me know down in the comment section, the filler and the Bondo right here. And if you step back, even though there's salt on here, you can see that this is a different texture from this here, and it's easy to see where it's been repainted. If it's not easy to see, you need something like this to help you find it. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I'll put a link down below where you can find these. You can get these on Amazon, anywhere from 30, 40 bucks. I think this one was 70 or 80. I wouldn't spend more than 150 on one. The cheaper ones on the cheaper side of the spectrum, you know, they're not the most accurate in the world, but once you learn how to use it, you learn how to utilize it for your benefit. The more expensive ones for thousands of dollars, that's completely up to you, but that'll give you more accurate readings on more materials. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. I'll catch you in the next video.